Scott Garrett, Republican from New Jersey, outspoken in his opposition on the first rescue bill. Sir, good morning to you.
Good morning. Good to be with you.
All right. Are you ready to change your vote, sir?
Oh, I'm always ready to change my vote as soon as the administration and Nancy Pelosi is willing to change the bill that they sent to us. Basically, we're getting back the exact same bill with, well, as you say, some pork added to it to sweeten things up. And that doesn't make matters better. It really makes matters worse.
So you're not convinced?
No, I'm not convinced, and that's a good question because as days go by now, as this thing hangs out there, more and more experts are raising the question, does this bill in its original format, or the fundamental portion of it, really do anything to solve the problem other than just get us past a few days, and then we're going to have to come back and revisit with another type of bailout?
But let's get to that point in a moment here. As you well know, on Monday, had you had 12 more votes, be it Republican or Democrat, it would have passed then. Do you think what passed in the Senate, though, is enough to get 12 or 13 more votes, be it Republicans or Democrats, or both?
I would put a little bit of money on it that, yeah, they probably worked it pretty well over the last few days, asking just what sort of earmarks do you need to put into this thing in order to bring you on. You only needed 12, 6 and 6 from each side to do it. And by the way, that's really what these things are. These are earmarks that they added to it. They don't call them that because they're tax credits and the flip side of a spending, but a credit does the same thing for the business involved. I have a feeling that they probably brought on just about enough people to squeak by this.
Let me just point out to our viewers a few of these items on the screen. Manufacturers of wooden arrows, why you get $6 million. Puerto Rico and the Virgin Island rum producers, why you get $192 million.
Drink up.
Corporations operating in American Samoa, you get $33 million. Isn't this the same kind of thing that we've been railing against for months now?
For more than months, for years now, and this just is a reflection of how Washington works. This is a reflection of what Americans are so mad about Washington. And with all due respect to the Treasury Secretary, I think he's a good and honorable and very bright man, and probably do the best he can. He's only going to be in office, for about 3 more months. We'll have a new political appointee for Treasury Secretary, and this just is an example of how politics drives Washington and may very well drive this program.
And it may very well be able to put the votes over the top when the House votes on it tomorrow. Before we go, you mentioned down the road. Here's where I think the sticking point is for all of our viewers who email us, and they're mad as hell about this bailout/rescue bill. They don't like it. However, they're willing to pull their share. The problem they have is, at what point do you come back and ask for more money? And at what point does it stop? And I think that's the point you were trying to make a short time ago, sir.
Exactly. I mean, the American public are good people. They're willing to help out their neighbor, and they're wondering whether this bill really does help out their neighbor. They're willing to buckle down and make the right decisions if Washington would just make the right decisions. But as I say, a week or a month from now, or maybe into the next term, we'll look back and say this bill really didn't solve it, didn't address the fundamental problems. They'll be coming back for more money, and my bet also is a change in the overall structure of the bill and the law to actually get to the fundamental problems, the housing market.
Your bet at the moment, though, is does it pass in its current form in the House tomorrow?
Yeah, I would put a little bit of money on that they probably have the votes. It was a real surprise to me that Nancy Pelosi would actually put up a bill this past week without the votes. She's in charge. She really should have had her votes on her side of the aisle. I've never seen any leader put a bill up that important, not actually do it.
I tell you, you're not alone on that. I mean, all of us who work outside of Washington, we normally think when something's coming up for a vote, it's going to pass.
I thought it was a done deal.
What a stunner. Scott Garrett, thank you for your time. Congressman from New Jersey on the Hill in Washington. He's still voting no.
And this is a Fox News alert. In just about, 25 minutes, opening bell rings on Wall Street. And in just the last half an hour, the Dow futures took a dive. Jobless numbers came out a short